Hey guys, Sinister here at Bad Company Gaming, and this time I thought that we would talk about how I expect Battlefield Hardline to play once it's released, because I've been getting that question quite a lot from people in my friends list and on YouTube, through email, private messages on Facebook, yada 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 yada, even Twitter. And it's such a perspective and objective question, really, that it's going to be kind of hard to provide an answer. And the reason for that is because we've all played a game of Rush where you're on the attacking team, you really need to make a unified push into the objectives, but then you have so many finicky teammates that are so scared of ruining their KDR that they won't run out there and die to get anything done. The reason that my KDR, I mean, it's like a 2.1 or so. I mean, it's on the high side of average, I would say, but it's definitely not amazing, and the reason for that is because I would rather die 8 times in a row and get an objective captured or blown up if we're playing Rush than I would to go on like a 20-0 kill streak and not get anything done for the team. That's the sort of player that I am. But we've all played these sort of conflicting games where you have like 3 snipers that are sitting there not really doing anything. You've got, heck, maybe you're on like Silk Road and you got one of your tank drivers being really fickle and he's just kind of sitting in spawn not really doing anything with it. He's trying to take people out at long range. That tank, I mean, even though it's most likely not going to make it very long if it gets in there on the objectives because there's so many RPGs, that's going to take the focus of the enemy team, or in this case the defenders. It's going to take the focus of the defenders off of the objectives just for a little bit to take out that tank, 2 tanks, 3 tanks, even maybe a tank and an LAV, something of that combination. But you need to have that focus, and so I say that having a lot of bodies and a lot of targets for them to shoot at is going to be your best bet on playing Rush or Heist on Battlefield Hardline. The reason I say that is because it sounds like I'm just saying, well, get everyone in there, that gives them more things to shoot at, they get more kills, and then everyone dies more often on the attacking force. That's not what I'm saying, even though that's what it kind of sounds like. I'm saying that if everyone would make one big push at the same time, or maybe not even one big push, if everyone just kind of trickled on in there, but they weren't being so fickle and finicky about it, if they would actually just run up in there and get some things done, maybe they would go down. But like, we could arm the Alpha objective on the second set of MCOMs on Hanan Resort. If we armed that set of MCOMs, we could keep the momentum up to move on to Bravo while Alpha is still in the process of being destroyed, and then whenever that blows, you hopefully already have Bravo armed, and then you're on your way. You just keep up that momentum. But whenever you have finicky, slow, scared teammates that are too worried about their statistics, which is just garbage, I would like to sort of interject my story here. Just because you have a high KDR does not mean that you're a wonderful player. You could be the kind of player that goes 20-0 using your M16 on deathmatch all the time, I don't know. But you could also be that sniper that sits on the side of the map and kills maybe 2 or 3 people a game but doesn't die at all. Then you could have an amazing KDR. So KDR means nothing to me. Score per minute means more to me than the KDR, certainly. And I think that the skill number on Battlelog is actually even more effective, at least as far as how I'm concerned. Looking at people, it seems to be a pretty darn accurate way of assessing their team play, their objective play, and their KDR, combat effectiveness, accuracy, things of that nature. It's sort of everything combined into one statistic. So if there's any single statistic to go off of, I would say it's the stats or skill number on Battlelog. That would be the most reliable source of intel, I would say. But keeping that momentum up is the key. Like I said, if you have an LAV, you have to use that LAV. Maybe the LAV will go down, maybe everyone inside the LAV is going to die, but you have to use that LAV to make the push. I hate it when I'm playing on a map and then the LAV just kind of sits in the spawn while I'm on the infantry and I haven't died in a while, but I can tell that the LAV hasn't come out, and then as soon as I go down, I can spawn in that LAV and start using it to make a push on Rush, or Conquest, or even Obliteration sometimes. Having that vehicle is just so valuable. I mean, like I said, even if it doesn't last very long, it just takes the enemy's focus off of the objective and off of the infantry targets around them. I mean, it just really gives you about a 30 to 45 second window, even if everyone immediately has their RPGs out and is shooting at you. It just gives that much time for the infantry forces to move up and make a play on the objective. It's so poorly understated, the effectiveness of vehicles, even if they blow up almost immediately. Heck, even if it's a Jeep with a dude on the 50 cal, that's going to distract the enemy team. If you have an attack boat on Hanan Resort, you manage to keep it around after that first base, you can start sending like TV missiles and tow missiles and just send shells up at that top island on the second set of bases. I mean, sure, you're probably not going to kill anything, but it's going to be suppressing the enemy, and it's going to give them something else to think about besides the infantry that's trying to move up onto those MCOMs. I'm sure you've been in that position where your team really isn't, like, your team is everywhere, they're all shooting inward, but there's no one actually on the MCOM playing the objective and trying to plant it, and you're one of the only guys trying to run in there. And if you have formidable opponents, it's just not going to happen. You have to have at least a full squad make a push, and even if the other team has, you know, the equal 5 guys that you have, or, you know, more, they're still most likely going to win that firefight because they're already in the defensive position, and if they can lock down the corridors that you're going to take to get up there, I mean, really, they just have it in the bag. This is why the rush game mode, really, I just don't like it in Battlefield 4 so much, because it's really hard to flank the objectives and get an arm, and if you have teammates that aren't willing to play as a team, it's really just going to wind up getting you stuck and dead a lot more than, you're just going to wind up being killed a lot more than you should be, I guess I should say. If we think back to Battlefield Bad Company 2 or playing Rush, I mean, sure, you still have the issue of your team maybe not pushing as hard as you'd like, but for the most part, if the defenders had a tank, the attackers had a tank, and if the attackers had a tank, the defenders had a tank. That gave the tanks something to do, that gave the vehicles, drivers something to do. There was usually sniper posts set up for either team, so if there was a sniper, but there were sniper posts actually strategically placed so that it got the snipers up into the combat instead of sitting off on the side of the mountain. This is one of the biggest problems with Battlefield 4, is that there aren't designated sniper areas really, so then people just sort of get inventive with it, and then they go hide on the edge of the map where no one's ever going to find them. Admitted this still happened in Bad Company 2, but it didn't happen near as often as it happens now in Battlefield 4, or even Battlefield 3 sometimes. But Bad Company 2, there was almost always a flanking route to get to the MCOMs. There was always like a different route into the base or into the objective if your team just wasn't pushing. I take Erica Harbor as a perfect example. That first set of MCOMs, there were so many different ways into both of those MCOMs that even if you had only one MCOM left and you gave them, 2 or 3 minutes to set up on that last MCOM, you could still usually get a decent flank off, use that tank as that force of momentum you need, and then you were moving on, and you were on your way. You weren't delaying the game. You weren't causing a stalemate. You weren't you weren't allowing a steamroll to happen, which is about the worst thing that could happen in gaming. I hate that when you get on that team of attackers or defenders, and you're just drilling the other team into the ground repeatedly every single match, over and over and over and over and over. That's not fun for the team that you're ground pounding, and that's not fun for the team that is ground pounding, because it's really just sort of boring. It's like you have to try to die at that point, and it really just doesn't make it fun, because going 32-3, I mean, sure, that can be fun if you're playing like Conquest and you're actually getting some stuff done, but whenever you're on a steamroll like that playing Rush, it just makes you feel dirty inside. It really does, and that sort of gameplay is really messed up. I like it when it comes down to just a matter of tickets. It's been a crazy firefight. Your team makes that last final push into the objectives, and then you get that armed. And it's just like the best feeling in the world. It actually makes it feel like it's worth it. The reason I say so much about Battlefield 4 and Rush is because I expect exactly the same thing out of Hardline. Hardline is going to play exactly how the community is willing to play it. As we all know, the community's sort of gone sour. There isn't a whole lot of team play aspect yet, which is why you can take ammo off of support players and you can take health off of medics, because they don't play their class. I'm sorry if you're a support player and you actually do play your class, but the majority of support players out there and the majority of medics out there don't run defibs anymore, and they certainly don't hand out med kits when their teammates need it, and they don't hand out ammo boxes. They usually just run with claymores, the airburst, or the airburst and C4. So for the most part, I find the support class to be the most useless class in the entire game of Battlefield 4 right now, because no one ever uses it for the benefit of the team. It's for the benefit of themselves. So all that to say, unless they just set up a crazy incentive way to promote team play, like you get just a ton of points for giving out health and ammo. I really don't see what there's going to be much incentive that's going to change people's minds to play the game any differently than they already do. It's going to be very selfish gameplay. It's just going to all be about the self. And there's not going to be a whole lot of team play aspect. That's at least what I'm expecting out of it. But let me know in the comments box below if you think that something else is going to come of the community. Do you think that the community is going to own up and actually participate as squads and teams? I personally highly doubt it, but if you think that that's going to happen, I'm definitely willing to hear your thoughts down in the comments box below. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this sort of talk video, and yeah, take it easy.